What's up, Rolos? Welcome to the Millennial Rolodex. Is it the Millennial Rolodex or Millennial Rolodex? I don't know at this point in time, but we'll throw a the in there. That's so funny because if you really think about it, there are titles of movies and books that probably have the in front of it that you don't know, or that don't have the in front of it and you think it has the in front of it. And that reminds me, when I was younger, I had a counselor in after school. And I remember hearing, because I was like, what, like 9, 10, around that age, and the counselor was like in high school. And I remember hearing, for a paper he had to write, that it said, what is the meaning of the, describe it in an essay. And I remember him telling that he was writing, oh well, the is the beginning of, and just that. And I always remember how the makes no sense. So the, welcome to the millennial. Let's throw the word the out. You know, it's funny that I was listening to a lot of William Friedkin interviews, and he actually passed away a couple years ago, or last year was it? But he's the director of a lot of movies like The French Connection. What else did he direct? He directed The Exorcist, his most popular one probably, To Live and Die in L.A. He directed a bunch of things, and he's one of my favorite directors. But I was listening to him, a lot of interviews with him, because there's something about these old school guys that I really enjoy. I love their personalities, and I love their shtick. Like, I suggest you listen to one of his interviews. He has a bunch of interviews because he's an iconic, legendary film director of the 70s and then 80s as well. But he just talks, and he just wax poetic about everything, about making of The French Connection, how it's a cop movie that takes place in 1970s New York, and how there was no permits, and he was just going all over the place. They were just they were pretty much filming, and people didn't know they were filming a movie. They're like, yeah, we're filming a commercial, don't look in the camera. And it's one of the craziest, most iconic chase scenes in cinema history. And he didn't have any permits for it, and he didn't shut down any streets. So if you watch the movie, which obviously YouTube now, you could go watch clips of it, but I suggest you watch the movie because it is one of my favorite movies. That it's amazing, and all the cars in the chase scene, the iconic chase scene, they're all real cars and people, and they're all real they're just the main cop car. So check that out because that's really interesting. But yeah, so I'm listening to him talk in a lot of interviews, and you know, he's talking about, he wrote a book. The reason why I bring up him, not just because he's great and you should just go check out his interviews, because he's so iconically himself. He doesn't give a shit about anything, and he just says how he feels. And and it's funny because I'm a very big artist kind of guy. I love art, obviously, if you know this show. And you know me, I love art. I think everything's art, and I think filmmakers are artists, even though if he was alive today, he would say, that's bullshit, I'm not an artist, I'm a working man, which is also makes him more endearing, in my opinion. But so he's talking about, you know, he talks about so many things. He's just himself. He's a character. Like they don't have that many characters. He's his own self. So in a world like the thing that I noticed today in the world, and me and Mary Lady were talking about it yesterday, and we just you know, you see it now more than ever. You know, people are so uniformly themselves, and you know, art is kind of like, there are amazing artists out there, but you have to go and find them, because the most of the art you see now, or the most, like, you walk into a building, it looks very like a bank. Every building, no matter if it's an art building or not, everything looks like a bank. And you know, you don't have that soul in everything, because everything is just uniform and sterile and everything. So in a world of that, I like to go back in time, and you could say I am lost in time, looking back at these older legends, in my opinion, and just getting stuck in that world and that time, and you know, it's technology is cool in my opinion. I am going off into different tangents, but I'm gonna bring you all back. Don't worry, guys. um, Technology is beautiful in the sense that it holds into place people and ideas, and if you want to hear people talk, you could now we could go on YouTube and just type in any clip of anything and we could find it, or any video and we could find it, which is such a beautiful resource and tool. That I think that's the positive of it. Now, obviously, the negatives is we can mindlessly scroll at dumb stuff and people putting things out for views, which seem to just generate. They're just putting dumb things out so it hits on people's hits on your like dopamine, and so people just watch it and watch it and watch it, and that probably is what's making us dumber as a society. But there are also amazing things out there, like things to learn and different people to listen to that are no longer with us. But this technology that we have holds an energy into space and time, is what I'm saying here, people, in a long-winded thing. So I go back and I listen to these old masters and I'm like, oh, I feel like they're still with us. And so I'm listening to William Friedkin. He's being himself. He's cursing. He's telling people, fuck that shit, whatever, like all that good stuff. Listen to William Friedkin. He's hilarious. And you'll learn a lot about art and just movie making if you're into that. And also just like kind of like any kind of worker, because he was so good at his job, and he came from directing as a working man mentality. Just, you could apply that to anything, So the reason why I brought him up originally, that was my little tangent on William Friedkin. The reason why I brought him up originally was because he wrote an autobiography, and he said that he checked everything for grammar and everything on the first the first editing go around, and then the next one he did a pass at it, like he went through it and took out the word very. So every word very, he took it out because he said that it was meaningless. I forgot, somebody told him that the word very was meaningless, because think about it. If I say I'm very mad, does that describe anything more? If I say I'm very happy, I could just say I'm happy. I could just say I'm mad. I could just say, so very really has no meaning. So he said that he took it out of his autobiography. He did a pass where he took out every word very. So that just reminded me of the word the, because the blank, it just reminded me of it. I don't know. It probably has nothing to do with it. So anyway, that was the first tangent of the day. I have many more tangents of the day, guys. I'm just, what it is, what I'm going through now. It's just like, I feel, I don't know if it's real or not real, but when you go online, you just feel this energy of everybody's against each other. And everybody's like, oh, we're in a revolution. We need to fight. We need to, we all this hatred and all of this animosity, whether you think it's from love or it's from, or it's for goodness, there's so much animosity between people now, and I would just say, it's funny because I have a piece of paper in front of me that keeps on falling. You probably hear it. Let me take a sip of my coffee, guys. Hold on. Some delicious Vietnamese coffee, freshly ground, guys. So, I'm seeing all this stuff, and everybody's like, oh, the Democrats, the Republicans, ICE, immigrants, all these people, Epstein, this, that, and everything turns out to be very me against you. I don't know how everything in this world has turned out to be me against you, and not even in a way of oh, I'm doing this for love, but it's like, all right, who am I against right now? All right, I believe this, who doesn't believe this, and now I'm going to fight this person, right? So I don't know how we got here as a world, really, honestly. So, I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking about, I work, at my job. I was working at the desk. One of the positions that we work at our job. or at my job rather. So I was working at the desk, and I saw this lady come by, and she worked in the building, and she had these peace earrings on, and she was an older lady, and I said, "Oh, I love your earrings," and she was like, "Oh man, and I think what had happened was, so this lady, at this particular building, this lady works for a bank, right? And a bigger bank bought her bank recently, and they were pretty much firing everybody and doing a whole different, because this was a smaller bank, or making people apply to work at their bank, and it was like a takeover, not a takeover, but it was they were they were taking over. I don't know if that's the business term, but they were taking over the bank, and they were changing everything. So they pretty much were sucking up the smaller bank into their bank, and everything was getting more corporate, where the smaller bank was more personable with their clients and stuff. And so I think she was an older lady, and she was leaving. She was retiring, right? Or maybe going to find another job, because at this specific bank, a lot of people left and went to another smaller bank that they felt more aligned with their values. So so this lady, she comes up to the desk, because she was walking out. She comes up, she's like, "Yeah, man, that was the best that was a great generation, man. That was my time." I was like, "Oh, and I said this because I believe this is how I feel. Oh, that's my favorite time, the 60s to late 60s, early 70s, summer of love kind of time. I I don't know, my spirit was there, man. I'm telling you, I don't know what, but it was there, because every time I hear the music or see the movies or just feel that vibe of community and of love, I feel like transported there, and I feel like, I don't know, there's some great energy there." And so that's the time that she was from, and she goes, "Yeah, that was the time of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man, and it was such a great time." And I said, "Yeah, that's my favorite time." And she said, "But this is your time now, and you have to make this the best time you can, and whatever's here and whatever this is that's going on in this time, this is your time to do it." And I remember hearing that. I was like, you know what, she is right. Like, I can't go back in time. I can only live in my time. And then she said something so pertinent, because like, right, everybody, we all have such crazy opinions nowadays, man. We all have these like opinions about every single thing. And like I was saying earlier, like, all right, I have this opinion. Who disagrees with me? They're my enemy. I hate them. Let's fight to the death. And I can never agree with that lifestyle. I can never agree with that thought process. So she said to me something that it was so profound and beautiful, and kind of like I think about a lot now to this day. But she's like, back then we could do this, but now we've lost the ability. We can't even agree to disagree. And I think that I think about that all the time now, because if somebody disagrees with me now, or somebody disagrees with you, anybody, like us as a culture, I think at least the initial part of it is we get so angry. Even if you could say, "I don't get angry, this or that." Okay, fine, you don't get angry. But I think there's something in the culture now where most people, and I think it's just all of us, but I think most people, if you disagree with me, I'm like, all right, that's it. We're going to fight verbally, as close as we can to physically fighting, verbally, arguing, all out arguments, until we either get so angry at each other, or we get so angry at each other that we just both storm off and don't talk to each other, or somebody, I guess we have this thought where somebody's going to be like, "Oh, well, we'll yell at each other so much that the other person's going to agree with us, or they need to agree with us about," and this, I'm talking about any topic, anything. What's your favorite color? Blue. Mine's red. Fuck you. Okay, fine. Forget it. We don't need to agree with each other, but we can so profoundly agree to disagree, guys. Like, we don't have to agree. Oh, what do you think about the whatever it is, whatever, type in any hot button issue. well, hot button issues are a little more hard because they're hot button. But like, oh, what do you think about religion? Oh, I'm an atheist. Oh, well, I'm a Catholic. Okay, well then, why are you a Catholic? Oh, okay. Why are you an atheist? All right, okay, all right. And it's just like agree to disagree. That person's not going to suddenly, they might, but chances are that person's not going to come over and be like, I'm an atheist now. Everything you said was great. No, you just have a conversation. Oh, I'm a Catholic now. Everything you said, I believe in God now. No, it's like, let's just have a civil conversation, respect each other's views, and agree to disagree, guys, about anything. And that's what I try to do. I also need to, I'm in this world, so I'm affected by a lot. So I also have to remain calm about my ideas and not really think that my ideas are me. You hear that a lot. Your ideas are not you. You could have an idea about people, places, things, and they're just your ideas. That doesn't mean they're right, and that doesn't mean they're you, and they could change. So don't be so beholden onto these things that you hold on to. You're like, well, my ideas are me, so I must hold on to these. And if I don't, and if you disagree with me, then you disagree with me as a being, and that's not true. So that kind of goes along with a little bit of what this podcast is for me. It's funny because I talk, to friends and stuff, and like, oh, that's cool, you do it. And I say to them, I'm like, I'm doing it. This is an audio podcast. This is more like a radio thing, like an old school radio. Like, I'm here, WPXLYZ. I'm Michael, and I'm here to thank you for joining me. Whatever, the old school radio stuff. And I'm not getting into, I'm not getting into hate. I'm not getting into these topics that are, oh, I take this stance and I take this stance. I might take a stance, but I'm open to hearing other stance, and I don't hate people for taking stance. So, this show is to spread my own personality, my own art, my own expression, because everything I do is expression. Everything we all do is expression, whether you know it or not. Everything you're doing is an expression of yourself. So try to do it with passion, whatever it is. Even if you like, I don't want to do this, well, do it the best that you can with passion, and is to spread love through this, to this show, and through everything I do. I want to spread love, even if I'm joking around or whatever, I'm spreading love, and nothing I do is intentionally mean-spirited or anything like that. Whether if you think it is or not, I can't control how you perceive me as a person, but I do love, and I want to spread love, and I do love everybody. So I think that's what this show's about, and especially in this world where I think it just seems like every time you turn your head, it's like somebody's fear-mongering you or trying to make you hate somebody else. And I just can't get about that, no matter what that is. I can't get involved with that. So that's what this show is about. Also, in general, like the show, the Millennial Rolodex, that's what this is about. So it's funny because I read a book back in the day. It's from the 60s, or it takes place in the early 60s to late 60s, 70s era, about a white American guy goes to India and studies with, his name's Bhagavan Das, and he goes to study with all of these Indian gurus, and these really religious people, these cave monks, kind of. I think that's what they are. They meditate in caves all day. They do their prayers, all that stuff. So he goes there in the 60s by himself, goes and he ends up coming back during like the summer, the hippie movement. The Beats loved him, the hippie movement. The Beats were the pre-hippies. And he writes this book, which is a lesser known book. There's a guy who's more known called Ram Dass. You might have heard of him, who also was a white guy who went over there, and he came back and he wrote a book called Ram Dass Be Here Now. I had to look, it's right over there. Ram Dass Be Here Now. And then Bhagavan Das wrote a book called Is Here Now, Are You? And I didn't read Be Here Now, which is the more famous book, but Bhagavan Das's book I read, and it's about his whole journey from here, America, to over there to back here. So while he was in India, he studied all these like Indians, these gurus, these heavily religious people, and he said that their job, which their culture knows that with these guys, was to meditate and pray and raise the vibration of the world and of their culture. So some people, so when they would need food or donations or something to eat or clothes, whatever, people would give them food or maybe give them something else because they're raising the vibrations of their culture over there, their mental, spiritual vibrations. And once again, that when I heard that, it's so interesting that that's how society works over there. And it's funny, obviously people, it becomes a modern thing where because he's obviously raising the vibrations because he's over there doing the thing. So he goes to somebody's house to ask for food, and they're like, all right, here's food, but get out of here, right? Because like they're just a regular everyday Indian like family who's like, yeah, whatever, we get it, you're raising our vibrations, but just keep it moving, here's some food, so you get that modern take over there. But just how the culture thinks is even different. Like, we're out here meditating all day, we're not having a job, we're not worrying about this aesthetic world, we're just meditating, raising our vibrations, and by doing that we're raising the vibrations of everybody around us. So I believe that's here with all of us too. And I think that when you show your expression and when you show your love and when you show who you truly are, whatever that is raising the vibrations, and you're putting something out there that, once again, like, we live in this world where everything is money. It might not be monetarily significant or the biggest show. I'll speak for myself, like this podcast might not be the biggest show or monetarily a juggernaut for me or anything, but I'm putting this vibration out here for love and peace and compassion and expression. And so now this vibration is going out there, and hopefully, people pick that up and people feel it, whatever that is, and just go with it, man. So whatever and this is me, but I'm saying this is everybody. Whatever you want to do, you go out there and you do it, and you love, and you spread your expression and your love and your compassion throughout the world, man. And don't let this world get to you, because this world, it's a hard world out there, especially for, we all work every day, we're all just trying to push along, and, things could get to us. And even when we're feeling good, we'll turn on the news, something's happening somewhere, and then our vibration gets sent down. So what you do and what I'm trying to do and what we could all do as a collective is just be ourselves and express ourselves and put love out there. And we don't know who it's going to hit, where it's going to hit, but just speak out in your voice, be yourself, be your individual. Like how I was talking about earlier, the character of William Friedkin. No matter what you say about him, he was not a uniform person. He was a individual self and put forth his energy and his vibration and his expression, and therefore that inspires everybody, and whoever's around you, whether you're at work or you're with your friends, just be yourself, and people like you, don't like you, whatever, but your vibration, your expression is hitting everybody. So don't forget that, even if you feel like alone or like people don't care or whatever, man, you're doing your thing, and don't, obviously you don't, we live in a world where everybody wants to be cool and be hip and be perfect and kind of not be different. Be different, be weird, be silly, be stupid, make feel awkward. This is your world, man. This is your world and your life, and you only YOLO, as the great Dracus philosophist said. You only live once. So be yourself, man, and do what you want to do. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up now, guys. I have so much to talk about all the time, and I just get about halfway through it, and I'm like, you know what? I think that's good to end with. So I love you guys. Do your thing, and I'm gonna end with a quote. Actually, this is a Walt Whitman quote, guys. I know we're doing this. I'm ending with a Walt Whitman quote. I love it. I believe it's from Leaves of Grass, and I'm just going to read it out loud to you guys because I think this actually encapsulates exactly what I was saying. This is what you shall do. Love the earth and sun and the animals. Despise riches. Give alms to everyone that asks. Stand up for the stupid and crazy. Devote your income and labors to others. Hate tyrants. Argue not concerning God. Have patience and indulgence towards the people. Take off your hat to nothing, known or unknown, or to any man or number of men. Go freely with powerful, uneducated persons, and with the young, and with the mothers of families. Read these leaves in the open air, every season of every year of your life. Re-examine all you have been told at school, at church, or in any book. Dismiss whatever insults your own soul, and your very flesh shall be a great poem. And have the richest fluency, not only in its words, but in the silent lines of its lips and face, and between the lashes of your eyes, and in every motion and joint of your body. I love you guys.